20 and 40% since 2000. This increase in profits has been beneficial for the industry's workers while generating enormous wealth for its top echelon. In 1980, the typical financial services employee earned about the same wages as his counterpart or her counterpart in other industries. By 2006, employees in financial services earned an average of 70% more. Recent academic work has shown that income gains have been spectacularly impressive for those in the highest echelons of finance. The percentage of those working in finance in the top 1% of income virtually doubled between 1979 and 2005 to 14%. Among taxpayers in the top 0.1% of the distribution of income, the share of financial professionals increases even more dramatically from 11 to 18%. Generous pay packages for Wall Street jobs in particular have proven irresistibly alluring, and the industry has attracted a disproportionate share of managerial talent. In 2014, 33% of Harvard's MBA class took jobs in financial services upon graduation. At its peak, that number was 45%, compared to a mere 9% in 1980. As a society, it is important to stop and ask what drives this attraction towards finance. And I'm very sorry Powell had to go, because I agree with him. As someone who formed part of this statistic for Yale SOM, as did my husband, nearly 30 years ago, let me contend that the very process of pursuing excess returns in one part of the finance industry I know a little bit about, asset management, holds significant socially valuable information. Continually improving the process of learning about companies, industries, economies, and markets, price discovery enabled by trading, equity and bond analyst scrutiny and questioning of business managers and strategies, business formation driven by venture capital, private equity's provision of capital and expertise to companies for needed growth, ease and speed of capital mobility driven by payment system, all improve the efficiency of our societies. Equally, these pursuits in themselves are highly intellectually stimulating, not merely financially lucrative. Yep. It is this powerful combination that draws many of our brightest MBAs to this industry. And yet, some might rightly argue that the industry's talent pool relative to its share of economic output is a societally troubling trend, for it represents potentially a real distortion in the allocation of talent across all possible productive uses in the economy. Does it make societal sense to have some who work in finance reap such a greater level of reward for their work, while many working in other industries earn far less? Is it a surprise that tensions around high compensation levels in finance are soaring if those working in other sectors of the economy and the middle class and the poor within society as a whole see themselves losing ground? What is particularly galling to many in this regard are the government bailouts, seen by them as society stepping in to assist a few well-heeled and thin-eared bankers and financiers who created the systemic crisis in the first place. As successful participants in a capitalist economic system, leaders in finance, or any other industry for that matter, in my mind, need not be defensive about increasing their incomes, so long as their work positively contributes to society through their products, business practices, and culture. Admittedly, it isn't entirely clear just how directly the wealth and income increase for a few correspond with their productive contribution to overall economic output that helps the rest of society. The contrary view, posed by none other than Fed Governor Paul Volcker, among others, is that the finance leaders and CEOs have merely been the beneficiaries of strong economies and equity markets that have driven up the economic value of their stock options. The beneficiaries of this certainly can't take all the credit for it personally. Many of these beneficiaries have indeed become active in society by giving back through philanthropy in a range of human endeavors. A poignant question about this way that modern-day plutocrats respond to their increased wealth was recently raised at an Aspen Institute gathering and deserves our consideration. In a provocative speech, New York Times columnist and Aspen Henry Crown Fellow Anand Giridharadas challenged the notion popular among the intellectual and financial elite in society that it is okay for a few to get rich so long as the same few give back to the rest of society through their philanthropic acts. Anand pushed back strongly against this willingness to accept some excesses as an inevitable byproduct of capitalism as long as there was this giving back.